My 30M wife wants to sue my sister for her dog biting our daughter. 2F. My wife and sister have never gotten along. A couple days ago my sister came over to our place with her dog. It's a beagle, I think. Our daughter has a ball she likes to throw and run after. My wife warned my sister about this and my sister said her dog wouldn't do anything. Well, I guess we were careless and her dog ended up biting our daughter and drawing blood. We had to take her to the ER, and while there my wife and sister got into a screaming match. The bite was pretty bad and the doctor said there may be scarring. Anyway, my wife wants to sue my sister. She thinks the dog should be put down. My sister has apologized but began chastising my wife, like calling her crazy and other past stuff. Now my wife is hellbent on suing her. I've tried to console her but it's been a few days and she's contacted a lawyer. I've never seen my wife this angry. This whole thing is a complete mess and I don't know what to do. TL. Dear wife wants to sue my sister. Suing for what? Is your sister refusing to cover expenses? No child that young should be left alone with a dog. You and your wife should have been monitoring your child. And your sister should have had control over her dog. My dog loves children, but no way in hell I would leave him out of sight with a 2-year-old. Children do not know how to read a dog's body language or how to respect their boundaries. That is your job to teach your child. The dog should not be put down. But your sister needs to be a more responsible dog owner and you and your wife need to be more responsible parents to prevent this from happening again. From a previous comment you made, no one was present when the bite happened. So you are all equally at fault here. Your sister has already paid the medical bills. So your wife needs to drop it. Definitely talk to your sister and let her know that she needs to stop disrespecting your wife. But your wife needs to stop being vindictive as well. Chalk it up to a terrible lesson learned and move on. Your sister and wife can keep their distance from each other moving forward if they can't get along. But suing or putting the dog down when you are all at fault is outrageous. You are responsible for your child. Your sister is responsible for your dog. Your sister paid the medical bills. You can't stop your wife from suing, but you should tell the truth to the lawyers. It was your house and your kid. If the dog wasn't allowed in, you could have told her to not come in the house. Overall, you had a huge amount of control over the environment, saw the concerns, and didn't act appropriately. Why was the kid alone with a dog at all in the first place? Your wife can blame your sister all she wants, but this is an equal 50-50 emo. Especially BC, she paid the medical bills. Anything more than that is your wife trying to ruin your sister out of petty vindictiveness. Will it help your daughter at all? Is it for additional medical expenses? Or is it just putting your family through a lawsuit out of spite? People saying support your wife just BC you're married are confusing to me. It may keep the peace, but can you sleep aiding what you personally believe to be a miscarriage of justice? Based on your responses, really the most you can do is keep strong in your own conviction and go from there. Your wife can do the lawsuit no matter what you say, but you don't have to roll over and take her misguided anger because she can't bring herself to admit she was wrong as well. I would just calmly continue to explain your position when asked and try to be the voice of reason in the situation. Why does your wife think the entire blame is on your sister? Sure, she should have been watching your daughter. But you or your wife could have also just as easily monitored her with the beagle. The dog was your sister's responsibility to watch. Your daughter was your and wife's responsibility to watch. She's 2. She's not going to understand how to interact with a dog. I think everyone here owns some of the responsibility of what happened. I'm confused. Where was your wife when your daughter was bitten? Was she in the house at all, or was it just you and your sister with your daughter? IMHO everyone has some fault. A 2-yo needs to be supervised and you say you left the 2-yo alone with the dog, so it is quite possible the bite was defensive. 2-yos like to try and ride dogs. But the dog is 100% sister responsibility and sister shouldn't bring her dog to anybody's house while visiting unless she going to keep in sight at all times. That being said, putting the dog down is an overreaction. Everyone here sounds awful except the kid and the dog, who both acted like what they are. A kid and a dog. You and your wife were neglectful of your child. Your sister should have stayed with her dog or had it on a leash. Your wife sounds vindictive, wanting to have a dog killed because the adults were all too stupid to do their jobs. I assume you should get used to never seeing your sister again. Oh, and be a better parent. Watch your child around animals because, well, they're animals. Jesus H. Man. My in-laws' dog bit my son. Literally everyone was there except me. The dog wasn't malicious and it was a freak accident. CT scan to check for internal damage as it was deep and bled. Antibiotics. The works. I did not threaten to sue them or keep my child from them. They apologized and there are rules in place to keep that scenario from coming close to happening again. The dog is still around and is not the problem. They offered to pay as well. I don't remember if I accepted their money or not. It wasn't even in the top 10 of my concerns at the time. Your wife got scared, but you need to have a very frank talk with her about this. This is a marriage ender because it shows she is vindictive and not taking responsibility for her part in this. Neglect is on her too. Suggest family therapy, but if she doesn't budge, realize if anything bad happens and you could be blamed instead of her, you likely will be. Does the dog have a history of violence and aggression? Why wasn't anyone paying attention to the dog and the toddler? Sounds to me like it's the adults here who need to be put down, not the dog. There were 3 functioning adults in the home, and all 3 of them thought it would be a good idea to leave a 2-year-old alone with a dog? The dog and the child are the innocent victims of the 3 negligent adults. Somebody needs to step up and protect the dog and the child. All 3 of you are at fault here. Your wife needs to wake up and realize she, and you and sis, willingly left your child alone with a dog. The dog 100% doesn't deserve to die. No one knows what happened while you were all in another room. If your sister paid the medical bills already and if the dog doesn't have a history of violence or biting, then your wife needs to STFU. Your kid is 2 and you left her alone with a dog and surprised she got bit? It's all of your fault. Your wife is being pretty despicable here with wanting this dog dead. That's foul AF. Sister should pay for any medical expenses and ban the dog from coming over. Suing your sister is a lil excessive. There is a middle ground. All adults are at fault. As long as the dog is up to date on shots and hasn't been violent or aggressive in the past. He was just being a dog. Both dog and child should have been monitored. It happened at your house. So that's less on sister and more on you. You take responsibility. I would imagine any liability would be your own. I'm confused as to where the grounds for suing is coming from. Your homeowner's insurance would be responsible. You welcomed this animal on your property. Sister is paying for medical. Check. Talk to her about paying for therapy to help any possible fear of dogs. If necessary. Wife needs time to calm down. Help her. Use your attorney fees on a mediator for the family to come back together. Never allow sister to bring dog back around daughter again. Full stop. Maybe she could assure that dog will pursue further training. Personal opinion. Nothing more. Take it with a grain of salt if you must. But as somebody who was raised around rescue dogs, lots of animals in general, this is all I have to say. My aunt is a vet who specializes in canine behavior. Should a child have been unattended? No. But given that your wife warned your sister that your daughter had a specific toy she enjoyed, playing with that might catch the attention of the dog. Your sister should have taken extra precaution and put the dog away or kept it in a separate room from your child. Even if they were both being attended to, your wife has every right to sue your sister. And if she tried to push for the dog to get put down, I'm sure the court would agree with her. I would never want an innocent animal to be harmed, euthanized, but given the circumstances, the dog was not trained properly enough to be around such a small child, alone or not, and should not have been around your daughter until she knew that she could control its behavior, whether it be just a happily rowdy pup or not. Your sister should realize that her niece's safety and the safety of others comes before her an improperly trained animal. As a pet owner, it is her job to properly train her dog and not let it do whatever it pleases. If I was your wife, I would 100% sue. Especially because it wasn't just a little nibble. The dog broke skin and caused damage enough to leave scarring. If this was anybody else's child at a park or somewhere else in public, she would most likely be immediately charged, sued, with the animal euthanized or at least rehomed. And there'd be no conversation about it. Also, for extra context, when I was around 5 or 6, I had a new puppy that we were still training that nipped at me and broke skin. My mother immediately got it rehomed as she felt that somebody else could properly train the dog more and didn't want to endanger me or anybody else. I used to resent my mother for rehoming my puppy, but as an older I realized she was doing it for my safety and the safety of others. As a responsible animal, pet owner, and mother, she knew she had to do what was right despite her or my personal feelings, opinions on it. From a comment you made, it seems like your wife was already out of the room when you and your sister moved to the kitchen. And if that's the case, your wife is definitely not at fault here. If I left my partner in a room with our 2-year-old kid and a dog, I would expect my partner not to leave the room. You fucked up there, op. I mean, what is suing going to do? Force a dog to be killed and extract some money? Sure as hell isn't going to console, heal your daughter. Maybe calmly ask what the intended goal is here. Suing doesn't actually do anything positive. Except money, restraining orders. And they aren't good results against a family member. Putting a dog down for a bite when it was running after a ball is absolutely evil. Personally speaking, if I found out my wife wanted to kill my sister's dog for a mistake involving doing what dogs regularly do, that would be grounds for divorce. But that's just me. Realistically, your sister should have been watching the dog. And you and your wife should have been watching your daughter. The dog being put down is out of the question. It's completely immoral and won't hold up in court. But I don't think it's unreasonable to request splitting the medical bills. Edit. I see from another comment your sister has already paid all of the medical bills. She has been more than generous already, and respectfully, your wife needs to fuck off.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.